What's going on, everybody? The National Association of Realtors just released its generational trends report. So, this is such good information because it tells you exactly what buyers and sellers want, where they're finding their agent, what they expect of their agent. Really important stuff, and you should definitely be aware of this. The biggest takeaway of this, some things that blew my mind, was in particular where they found their agent. This information is going to give us a good idea of how to market, where people are looking, and in particular, there's a few that really were surprising. What not to do. Some certain things you're spending money on maybe don't work so well. So let's dive right into this here. So here is the generational report from the National Association of Realtors. There we go. So the first thing I wanted to touch on was what buyers want most from real estate agents. So what do they feel like when they were interviewed? That was the most important thing. And they said help finding the right home to purchase, 50%. Help negotiate terms. So that's what they thought at first. Here's what's interesting. That's what they said, but then when you go down once, afterwards, the benefit that was provided. 61 said help understand the process. So initially, they think they just want help finding the right home, but then when they get into it, they understand that helping understand the process is the most important. Negotiated better sales terms, that's up there as well. Pointed out unnoticed features and faults. So guys, you're 60%. Your buyers want you to help them make sure they're not getting into some sort of situation. So helping understand the process, negotiating better sales term, pointing out, faults, all good. But initially, remember, they're looking for someone just to help find their purchase price. So maybe when you're marketing yourself, we know, hey, they're looking for someone just to help find a home. That's you can do. And then when you get into it, you're providing these valuable things here. Here's some of my favorite. Okay, let's get into this. How buyers found real estate agents. Referred by a friend or family, 43%. That's actually down, but still, you can see how much higher that is. The number one way to get a new client is a referral. We all know that, right? So what are you doing in your business to keep in touch with all your past clients, to build those relationships? So that's where things like sending a weekly newsletter, right? If you think that your buyer from 3 years ago is going to come back and use you when you haven't even spoken 3 years, you're mistaken. It's not going to happen. So you need to figure out a way to keep in touch with them, and that's why I love the weekly newsletter. And guys, I'm not talking about an auto drip campaign that's just a general thing where, us realtors, we get them all like every first of the month. I get like 10 of the same email from all different lenders. There's just drip campaigns. That to me is lazy. What I notice as a consumer, and so that means other consumers do, I don't always necessarily notice even what the content is. What I notice more is how much effort was put into it. If somebody puts in zero effort, this is like an automated text. They're trying to sell us health insurance. Literally, you've put zero effort. You've automated text everybody, and that doesn't even warrant a response. But, somebody who's really putting forth effort, a lender who, delivers you something or, offers you lead service, something that they've put time, money, and effort into, you can respect that because you're like, oh, this person actually cares. So if you're looking for referrals, show that you care, put forward the effort to keep in touch. And to me, that's a weekly newsletter that's very thought out, interactive. You're doing stuff in the community, something that's actually interesting. And asking for them. Don't forget that. Ask for referrals. Keep in touch with your past clients. Past client events, another thing I like to do. Every spring, early summer, I do a family photo shoot. And then fall, kind of into winter, I'll do like a pie giveaway pictures with Santa. Keeping in touch with my past clients. And then throughout the year, I'm doing giveaways where I'm connecting with them again. And of course, they're on my weekly email. So referral, of course. That one's not surprising. Used agent previously to buy or sell a home. 13%. That's it. So people aren't keeping in touch. Their clients aren't using them. They're using other agents. So keeping in touch. Inquired about a specific property, 7%. So that's still not too bad. That's, you can definitely get some through, websites and things like that. Website without a specific reference. So just basically online. We got 7 and 7. So we'll call that just online. Agent to agent referrals, 5%. Open house, 5%. So you see open houses work. visited an open house. So we got two things here. They saw the contact for the open house, but maybe didn't even go. Use that agent. Visited an open house. Use that agent. Personal contact by agent. So cold calling, they reached out to them, 3%. So that's good. That's still pretty good. We're still high enough where it makes sense to do these activities. Reload companies, employees, 2%. Okay, so here's where we start to get down. These are ones, and these stars are less than one. Here's where my mind got blown, okay? Obviously, we know not many people are walking into offices. So if you're at a brokerage that is paying for a bunch of offices and you're paying high fees to have these offices, what's it for? Is it because you're hoping to get clients? Because that's not really happening too much. Not to say it doesn't, because it does, but it really doesn't happen much. Is it worth it? If you just like the office and you're willing to spend tons of money on one, that's okay. I switched away from the traditional office and went to Real Broker because I saved an insane amount of money and I didn't need the office. But okay, so here's the one in particular that I really kind of hit home for me. Look at this. Saw the agent's social media page without connection. Look how low that is. So I spend a lot of time on social media, and I think the biggest problem is people think they're putting out content to get new clients. And you can see right here, you're really not. There really isn't much to do as far as new clients go. And I think the reason most agents don't convert new clients is because there's no call to action. And I'd like to point out somebody on my team who is also my sister. She just went viral. She really nice post, all this information, 2.5 million views just as of today. But she didn't really get any leads from it because she didn't have a call to action, say comment info to get my buyer's packet, something like that, something that captured that information, because they're just scrolling through, they see your post, they think, oh great, and then they keep going, right? If you can capture their information with some form of call to action, now you're getting them in your world, in your database, you're sending your newsletter, you're connecting with them. This can go up substantially. So when you're making content, remember that the odds of bringing somebody outside of your world in to be a client is very low. However, also remember your sphere of influence. So you got two parts of social media for me. One, you're making content to just build your reputation within your sphere of influence. So that's important. Things like video, it can be home seller tips. I do a lot like in the community showcase in restaurants because, some people don't care about home selling tips if they're not selling their home. So just other engaging things that I don't really have a call to action. This is specifically for my sphere of influence, just to, build my reputation. So when they think of someone they need to buy or sell, they come to me. But I'm also doing call to action. And a lot of these I run as ads because we're not trying to target a sphere of influence. We're reaching out. So you can do, targeted ads in communities. You can upload lists and target people specifically. And so here, this is where I can convert higher than this because I'm getting a call to action. Let me run an example. You run a video saying essentially, looking to sell your house in the next 12 months, here's 3 things you need to do now. Whatever. No call to action, you run it as an ad. After the fact, you can go into Social Media Ad Manager and you can say, I want to run my next ad to everyone who watched this video for more than 10 seconds. Now maybe there's all kinds of things that can go wrong in a home sale. Put your info below and get my list of 88 turbulence that you may experience when selling a home. Now you're getting their contact. Now you're feeding your downline and feeding your, and this is how you convert. It's not that they're going to walk in and see you on social media and say, oh, I want to list with that guy, because as you can tell, it's not really happening. So moving on, applications, same. Here's another one right here. This one I've been preaching. I preach this so hard. Direct mail, newsletter, flyer, postcard, not even 1%. It's not converting. So many real estate coaches, and I see new agents come in and everyone goes, oh, you should send flyers every time a house just sold. Send out a just sold. Why? Why are we sending a just sold postcard? I'm sure there's people out there who have luck with it. But look, here's the result. This is it. Unless you have a specific call to action, right? I go back to this. a QR code to get them to scan their information to get something to put them in your database, and now you can keep contacting them. So simply sending out a flyer that just says, oh, I just sold the house in your neighborhood, goes right in the trash, nobody cares. So keep that in mind. A call to action, that is what you need to really make these work. But for me personally, I very limited on what I do with direct mail because it's expensive and you can do it for a lot less by retargeting ads. So think of this. If I'm farming my area, I go into LandVoice, RedX, wherever I use to get my information, and I download a list of my farm area. I can then upload that list to Facebook and run a targeted ad just to those people. And it's cheap, super cheap. But now you couple that in, now they're seeing you all over the internet, couple that in with some cold calls. I got their numbers from LandVoice or RedX. Now I'm going to call them and just introduce myself. Hey, I'm Tom. I'm a realtor in the area. Just wanted to let you introduce myself kind of deal. We're not looking to do anything yet. We're trying to just get our, build our reputation, get people to know us. Then maybe you door knock. Hey, just wanted to introduce myself. Give them a little business card with a magnet on it. I always use a magnet because business cards go in the trash. A magnet goes in the fridge. At this point, they already know who you are. Now you send direct mail. Now you send call to action letters. And they already know you. They've seen you all over social media. You've even called them. Maybe it was just a voicemail. You didn't even talk to them, but they are starting to recognize you. They're more likely to be responsive. So what I do is I try to get in front of people the cheapest way possible. And then when I know who I'm getting in front of more, I can start spending more to target those specific people. But just sending a direct mail, just sold, they don't really work. So here you go. Newspaper, ads. I always got companies calling me, hey, you can be in our newsletter. It doesn't work. Don't care. Advertising specialties, so calendars and magnets. Again, not really much. And I think this goes back to number one, there's no call to action. Number two, that's just one touch, one time a year. It's not enough. I think you send a calendar to the place you're farming, chasing ads, making calls, doing door knocking, sending letters. Now they got your calendar. So combining all these, you will literally own a neighborhood. So here we go. Here we're at. Most important factors when choosing an agent. Here's some more that I really, really, really love. The number one, agent is honest and trustworthy. That's it. You know how few agents are actually honest and trustworthy? Not that many. So what does this mean? This is the relationships before transactions. Ricky Caruso's been preaching that forever. I love that. Relationships over transactions. Meaning sometimes you have to, step on your own foot, can't sink your own deal to do the right thing. And this is hard because you could maybe do some wordplay, hide some things, and close the deal. But what happens is you lose that trust. And this is the number one thing. And I'll show you why that's really important here later. I'm going to move myself up here. Experience, 21. So guys, people who do more. And that's just how it is. So get out there and hustle, build your database, because the more experience you have, the more of a pro you'll sound like, the more likely you're going to need to get business. Reputation of agent. In my opinion, the biggest factor of your reputation is what other agents think of you. Your reputation, it's going to follow you, right? So you need to treat everyone with respect at all times. And it's something I'm always thinking of. Literally just today, I have a listing agreement signed with somebody. He texted me out of the blue and said, hey, we listed it with a different agent. I'm like, huh? We have a listing agreement together. You can't just... It was hard for me to stomach that, but you know what? My reputation meant more than one deal because you know what? I'm going to sell hundreds of houses, and it doesn't matter for this one deal. So you know what? I ate my pride, and I said, all right, you're free to go. Because what would have been worse, I could slam this dude. I could lock him in. He's in a contract. I don't let him list his house, whatever. He's just going to go online, leave me a bad review, tell his friends. My reputation's not worth it. It's the number one thing. I'm not saying let people walk all over you and treat you bad, but your reputation means more than anything. Here's another one I like down here. Agent seems 100% accessible. Okay, look at how low. You don't need to be accessible every second of every day. You can provide a super high level service and also take a little time for yourself. Because especially when you start doing a lot of deals or you get clients that are very needy, they can absolutely overwhelm you. it's okay. Like for me, I shut my phone down at like 7. If you call me or text me after 7, I'm not going to get back to you the next day. And nobody ever complains. In fact, they understand that. And a lot of people even do it after 5. It's okay. They don't expect you to be 100% accessible every second. So I really like that one as well. Again, agent skills and qualities considered very important. Honesty and integrity. So again, 98%, that's the number one thing, honesty and integrity. So you have to put their needs before yours no matter what, at all costs. And at first, when I was a new agent, sometimes this was hard. You're like just starting out, you need to get paid, and you're like, I don't care about this thing. This is no big deal. Why can't we just scoot past? But when you stand up for what they need, what I found, and believe me, I've lost deals that I probably could have saved because there was something that truly in the best interest of the client wasn't right. But those people, when you help them, they love you even more than you can ever imagine. And those who I get most of my referrals from, it's unbelievable. Here's number 2, close second, knowledge of purchase process. Here's a really big problem in the industry when we have 50% of agents selling 0 to 1 house per year. Doesn't matter how many books you read, how much studying you do, knowledge comes from experience, because this industry is so much crazy stuff that can happen. There's no way you can learn it all. So this lack of knowledge in our industry, being that there's a lot of agents, and I'm not even going to say part-time agents because there's a ton of really good part-time agents, but there's agents who have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They don't really care. They're not knowledgeable. And that's very, very important. So if you're not doing that many deals, my advice to you would be go out and find as many deals as possible. I don't care. Listen, when I was brand new, I cold called a for sale by owner, offered to sell his house for nothing because I didn't care. I just needed experience. Find deals, work deals, every deal. The more you do, the more you'll know, the better you'll be. Responsiveness, of course, we got to reply to our clients. Everyone knows that. Knowledge of the market, again, be super knowledgeable. You should be studying your MLS. You should know your market. Communication skills, negotiation skills, all that is important. Next thing, the last thing I want to touch on here, importance of agent communication. Number 1, calls me personally to inform. People want to talk to you personally. For me, what I do, you can see there's also communications via text. So 71, there's also a good number that like that. So it's worth noting. But for me, I think just goes to communication, and I try to really communicate how my client wants me to. So for example, I time block every Monday morning, 9 a.m., I time block following up with my clients. I tell them this. You will hear from me between 9 and 10 every Monday. How do you want to hear from me? Do you want me to call you, text you, or email you? I figure out what they want and I go ahead and do it. Now you can see the majority of people want to be called. So anytime there's a major development or even just some sort of development, I call. Not only does we see it's what they want, it also boosts your relationship with them and leads you more likely to get clients. Every deal, you shouldn't really be thinking about what does this deal do for me now. You think about how can I turn this into more clients and referrals. Every deal. Every single person you talk to is not about now. It's about how can you build for later. Because you do that for 5 years, 10 years, you're going to be doing really well. Even a couple years. I mean, one year of consistent cold calling or prospecting in any way you prefer, if you keep in touch with those people, your business will boom. Now imagine that times 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So call them, pick up the phone, make a call. So as you can see, there's a lot of good information here. Again, let's just, satisfaction with real estate agent skills, knowledge of the purchase process. So again, this goes back to what we mentioned earlier about, going through the process and it's what they want. There's so much good information in this, but like the overall thing we need to know is, for me, the most moving slide was, where are people getting their agents from? Or said another way, where are agents getting their clients? And so that's so important because it lets you focus on what you need to do. So for me, I'm seeing online. It's good to have a strong online presence. Running ads. You should definitely be learning how to do that. You can join my coaching program at tomgaruccio.com if you want to learn more about that. And and then building those relationships, because referrals are the number one, right? So anyways, yeah, like I said, TomGritcher.com. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. What was the most moving for you? And I appreciate your time.